Hello everyone, I thought I'd just jump on real quick and talk about the alkaline water myth, the hoax. So just debunk some of these sort of like fraudulent pseudoscientific concepts that are floating around society right now. One of which is of course that we need to drink loads and loads and loads and loads and loads and loads and a little bit more of water. When actually we just have a natural mechanism called thirst which tells us how much water we need to be drinking. But the main point of this video is to talk about the pH of the water, right? 7 is balanced. So what on earth's going on right now with this alkaline water? Well, it's another scam. Where do these things come from? It's like we always need a hero and a villain, right? There always needs to be this good versus evil dynamic. So, if you think about what's happening right now in the keto movement, suddenly there is the sort of vilification, if that's even a word, of carbohydrates. And now fat is the hero, whereas in the past it was always every fat is evil, and you need glucose, and so this constant imbalance of the mind is giving rise to and giving a huge opportunity for people who want to cash in on that, and the new pH thing is absolutely the case. So acidity in general is being sort of vilified to the point where we're going to the extreme polar opposite. People are talking about, infinite waters, Ralph Smart, all this sort of like this idea that your wee should be crystal clear, drinking high pH, high alkaline water. But why? There was absolutely no science behind this. If you do just a superficial search, you'll see that it's based on nothing but thin air. And so the reason though, I feel, because I've fallen down this psyop, myself, and the reason I stopped is because I got a condition called SIBO, and I still have it actually right now, which is also, giving rise to from stress and anxiety. But the alkaline water, I feel, has not helped out whatsoever, because the stomach is meant to be acidic, right? Because it's all about digestion. So if you just think of, like a vegetable, like a pepper or a capsicum, wherever you are in the world, what is going to break that down more efficiently? Is it going to be alkaline or is it going to be acid? It's going to be an acid, right? You can visualize that. That's what happens with the hydrochloric acid in the stomach, of course. That's why we have all this mucus, which is actually protecting the stomach linings from the acidity. That's why we have all the valves that shut off the stomach, right? So that we don't have acid reflux. So when there's a nice gradient from alkaline, which is all this, the esophagus, down to the acidity of the stomach, that gradient shuts off these valves and allows that to be a closed environment in which your food will be digested, or at least the beginning of that. And then the gradient, I feel, from the stomach slowly becomes more alkaline before the microorganisms take over, which is like in this sort of process, the secondary microorganisms that take over the role of decomposition, where it becomes more about fermentation. Right? But that happens in the large intestine, and it shouldn't happen in the small intestine, and it shouldn't happen in the stomach. But unfortunately what happens if you drink too much high pH alkaline water, and it all comes in these nice shiny big glass bottles, doesn't it? Charging you a premium, when actually there's probably just tap water in there. But think about how much money they're making from this. But anyway, the point is, right, if the stomach becomes too alkaline and the small intestine becomes too alkaline, what happens is these microorganisms that should only be able to exist in the colon, in the large intestine, start to swim upstream and migrate into the small intestine and to some extent even in the stomach, and we have this condition called SIBO, which is small intestinal bacterial overgrowth. Now, this is going to wreak absolute havoc on your life and your digestive system and your stress, everything. Honestly, it's not a very nice thing to experience. It's an irritable bowel syndrome sort of type thing, but it's very problematic because you've now got these microorganisms that are consuming the fiber and the carbohydrates that you're eating in the small intestine. And unfortunately, the result of that digestive process from the microorganisms is gas, and you're experiencing that as pain, as bloating, right? And it's going to manifest as constipation, diarrhea. So many different problems, which actually come from the original psyop, in part because it's not exclusive to the alkaline water. As I was mentioning, stress is a huge contributor to this, because remember, if you're in a constant state of fight or flight where the sympathetic system is activated over the parasympathetic nervous system, the blood is flooding into the limbs, into the extremities where the focus is, which means that the rest and digest sort of mechanisms of the valves, so on and so forth, the digestion is being relegated in place of this survival ultimately. So now you've got these microorganisms in your small intestine and your stomach running rampage and it's not a very pleasant thing to experience whatsoever. So anyway, I thought I'd just do a quick video on this. I feel like it is a state psyop. Remember, everything has been inverted. The primary mechanism of the stomach is to begin the process of digestion. Of course, digestion begins in the mouth, but principally the stomach is the largest organ in which we can actually start to break down food and to be healthy. Because remember, healthy gut, a healthy microbiome is absolutely imperative if we're going to experience good health. And this is becoming more and more apparent as people begin to study what is actually quite a complex part of our physiology, the digestion, the stomach, right? But the point is to not get too scientific on here, because of course we leave that to other people. And I'd check out Dr. Berg if you're interested in learning more about this condition. I'll leave a link up on the top if you're interested in checking out some of what he's got to say. And I just think it's always about balancing things out. So I will be talking about health in the future here, because it's an important subject, of course, especially if we're going to move forward into a golden age. We need to become more conscious of what we're eating or what we're drinking. And when we create these autonomous co-housing environments, we're going to be having absolutely clean, filtered, pH neutral water. So what sort of water do I drink? Well, I try and aim from anywhere between 6.8 and 7.8. But I think typically the common recommended pH is 6.5 to about 8.2, 8.3. But now we're talking about 9, pH 10. This is way just insane. I wouldn't go near it. For me, it's a psyop, and they are everywhere at the moment, right? So yeah, don't fall for that one. I was unfortunate enough to start falling for it, and I won't be doing it again. So there we go. And nature has got the answer for us, hasn't it, really? It's like, all these animals, they don't really need to think about it. They just drink from the springs, right? And you'll find that the pH of those natural springs is between 6.5 and around about 7.8. So that's telling you right there, you don't have to sort of intellectualize it and create this false industry, which is ultimately based on fascism, where you're going to create sickness, just like the fast food restaurants and all the rest of it. They invert everything. That's what this satanic agenda is all about. It's about inversion. They have no creative capacity. They have to take what is pre-existent and they have to flip it on its head. That's what they're doing to us. Anyway, we'll be making more videos on health in the future. So do stick around for more information that's similar to this. Thanks very much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.